All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I am with you till 5 o'clock, and I'm shutting y'all down at 5 o'clock, maybe. Welcome to the show. I was watching Fanon Rucker's press conference in response to Hamilton County prosecutor, Connie Pillage, and she announced that the officer who shot Ryan Hinton, basically he was justified. He was justified. And she didn't send it to a grand jury, which is the thing that they can always sit. Let me say hellos first. I'm here, y'all saying hello to me. I'm going to say hello to y'all, and then we're going to get into it just a little bit. Because I don't really feel like being upset today. But we'll talk about it calmly, peacefully. We'll do our best. Anthony Prosser, first out the gate. Good afternoon, Anthony. Good afternoon. Got Erica Hummins in the house representing Reading. Good afternoon, Erica. DeAndre Crosby in the house. Good afternoon, DeAndre. Terry Anderson representing downtown. Good afternoon, Terry. And rounding out the top five, Regina Denson Griffin representing Madisonville. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the top five. I appreciate y'all support and participation. I appreciate it. Drea representing Sycamore Township. Good afternoon, Drea. Let's see. Maria Smith out there in North College Hill. Maria, good afternoon. Jerica Vaughn. Good afternoon. Shannon C. in the house with class and style. She says, good afternoon, Your Highness. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Shannon. Danny Dozier representing Westwood. Good afternoon. We got Jacqueline Carter in the house. She's representing Evanston. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jacqueline. Corey McDougal out there in Green Township. Good afternoon, Corey. James Benta says, welcome back. Thank you. And welcome back to you as well. Good afternoon. Let's see. Shahira in the house. I'm yelling now. I feel like I'm yelling. And I don't think I need to yell. The mic is right here. I can just talk to y'all now. But I still have to project. I have to. I don't know. Shahira in the house. She says present. She's representing Sharonville/Sycamore Township today. All right. Appreciate you. Jacqueline Carter's pissed. And David Martin. I don't even know where I saw Anthony in there. David Martin. Representing Hebron, good afternoon. Lamont Jones says, grand day, powerful royal people. He's representing Westwood. Good afternoon. We got Valisa Lovett in the house representing Blue Ash. Good afternoon. I saw Janice's name. I almost said it. I almost just yelled it out because, she's my favorite. Janice Robertson in the house. Good afternoon, Janice. Al Johnson representing Butler County. Good afternoon. And that's it right now. That's it. Those are the people who said good afternoon to me, and I said good afternoon to you. It's bonding. That's bonding time, and I appreciate it. Okay. So Connie Pillage, the Hamilton County prosecutor, unilaterally decided that the officer was justified in the shooting. Now, look, again. Oh. I had to get used to this mic being here. I had to watch my hands. Now, again, that video was the blurriest body cam video I've ever seen in my life. Okay? And I, believe it or not, I watch a lot of body cam video. I see a lot of body cam video. Some grainy, some... but officers drop them on the ground, all that kind of stuff. That was the blurriest video I've ever seen in my life. It was so blurry that it looked artificially blurry. I'm not saying with 100% certainty that they took the video and manipulated it. I'm not saying that I know that they did that, but it looked to me like video that might have been manipulated to be as blurry as it was. Never seen body cam video that blurry ever in my life. And so then to look at that and then to not send it to a grand jury. And like Fanon Rucker said, let citizens decide whether or not this man should be charged, whether Officer A should be charged, which, by the way, you can't claim transparency and hide the name of the officer. But Emanuel, there's a law that says that they can keep that. I don't think that there's a law that says that they must keep that from the public. There's a law that says that they can keep that from the public. Thundering. There's a law that says that they can keep that from the public, not that they must. So stop saying transparency. Stop saying transparency. You're not being transparent. By the fact that you did not want to or chose not to send this to a grand jury, again, you're not being transparent. Let citizens who don't trust the system, citizens who don't trust, I don't want the little thumbs up thing to pop up. Citizens who don't trust the system, who don't believe in the parties working within the system. Let me just talk about me. I don't trust the system. I don't believe in most of the judges. I really believe, and this is going to sound crazy maybe to somebody, but I really believe that when you get down there and you get a position down there, I believe that sometimes something happens and you feel like in order to keep your position, there's certain things that you have to do. And I don't care if you're a judge. I don't care if you're a prosecutor. I don't care if you're a defense attorney. When you get down there, there are certain things, I believe, that you feel like you must do to keep that position. And I believe that if our prosecutor had said, I'm sending this to a grand jury, the police community would have went bonkers. Even if the grand jury came back and said, we're not going to indict. The police community would have went bonkers. And, because you got to keep in mind that as prosecutor, you just got to work with the police. See, that's a compromising position. I think there should be a separate office on par with the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office that only deals with things where law enforcement may have to face justice. I think it should be totally separate. That's all they do. That's it. They don't do anything else. See, then that way, they're not concerned about their relationship with the police. Like, I might have a high profile case and the police might not cooperate with me and that might lose me the case. I need the police endorsement in order to get in it. This person, this new office, they definitely wouldn't get a police endorsement. We would, as citizens, we would automatically know if the police endorsed that person, don't vote for them. We would know that right out the gate. But I don't know, y'all. It's you see this stuff, and look, don't even get me wrong. Having not seen the evidence, it might be the right call. It might be the right call. Maybe if they unblurred that video, we would see something on the video and then we'll be able to say, yeah, that officer was right. But as it stands right now, I don't trust a single person to make that decision. Look, we know juries get it wrong. Juries get it wrong. But at least then they can say it was a jury. Even though we know they manipulate juries and all of that kind of stuff. It's so much. This whole justice system piece is just, it's wild. But if you hadn't heard, they're not prosecuting the officer, Officer A, who shot and killed Mr. Hinton. They're not doing it. And Connie made that decision on her own. A grand jury didn't decide not to indict. Connie decided, we good. We're not going to pursue no charges. It's all good. It's all good. Just like Connie decided, yeah, them Nazis didn't do nothing wrong. We're not going to prosecute the Nazis. And I really wish, I want somebody down there to, I know they can't. The media can't really do their jobs. I'm not talking about that nonsense that Trisha Mackey pulled. I'm talking about when you're down there and they're holding press conferences saying that we're not going to prosecute people. Like, ask them some for real questions. Look, if nothing else, something should have happened to the people in the back of the U-Haul, right? So you say we're not going to charge people in the back of the U-Haul. We're not going to pursue nothing against them. Okay, you're not going to pursue nothing against them. To me, a simple thing would have been, so now is it legal in Hamilton County to just hop in the back of a U-Haul and ride around? No one's ever going to be charged for that in Hamilton County. Of course, she would have had to say, no, that's still not legal. Then why are we not charging them with that? I mean, because it sounds petty. It sounds petty. Well, what about them riding in the back of a U-Haul? And she's looking at, well, it wasn't, that's just a minor offense. I'm not even going to worry about that. Look, sometimes you got to use these minor offenses to get to people. Y'all know they didn't get, what's his name, Al Capone? They didn't get him for all the stuff he got. They got him for tax evasion. What tax evasion? So what? You got to get them when you can get them. You got to get them on what you can get them on. But nobody want to ask those questions. You know why? Reporters and whatnot don't want to ask those questions. Because they'll get kicked out or told that they can't come back. They'll get told they can't come back. They won't get interviews and all of that kind of stuff. DeAndre says, did they have firearms on school grounds? See, I'm not sure about that. They may have. I don't know everything that the Nazis did wrong. But just the fact that we're talking about the Nazis did some stuff, and then you sit down there and you unilaterally say, I'm not going after Nazis. Nazis are all right with me. I know this kind of get into the whole Republican-Democrat thing. But as we move into an era in Hamilton County where Democrats are kind of taking over, we begin to see that some of the time it ain't that big of a difference between the two. I mean, I hadn't heard her call, no black people animals yet. A la, Dieters and Allen. I haven't heard her do that yet. But I don't know. Look, maybe she becomes a transitional prosecutor. Maybe she becomes a transitional prosecutor. For whatever reason, Janaea couldn't get elected to prosecute her. She was qualified. And I think she would have done a good job. For some reason, Fanon couldn't get elected to prosecutor. These are two black people who ran. So maybe in order to get a Democrat in there, it kind of had to be a white person. So now you're playing racial politics. Because this is America. So maybe she becomes a transit. Like, okay, now that we got a Democrat in there, now maybe we can get a black Democrat in there. Does that necessarily mean because it's a black Democrat that they're going to make the right decisions? Because I think this is the wrong decision. Even if the decision, you send it to a grand jury and they say, we're not indicting, he good. That's the right decision if you ask me. The wrong decision is to unilaterally say, he good. I looked at that blurry video really carefully. And I decided, based on not being able to see anything and listening to Officer A, that Officer A was justified. If you squint, turn your head just a little bit to the right, back up a little bit, slump over. You know what I'm saying? If you do all of that, then you can see. I don't know, what I'm saying? I don't know what the answer is to any of this stuff. I can't say here's what need to be done. I'm not trusting the prosecutor. I really think the answer is somebody that does not deal with police on a regular basis, independent portion of the government here locally in the county that handles police issues. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not a fix necessarily, because they'll manipulate that too. But I don't know. This whole thing is frustrating. Jerica said it's not about race, it's about the law. And I don't know if she's being sarcastic or whatever, but I think it's about both. If that's a little white kid running through some white area of town, Hyde Park, and we got that blurry A video, I think a grand jury is going to take a look at that. Especially somebody well-connected, I think a grand jury is going to take a look at that. I don't think she's just going to be like, we good. So Tessie says the problem is in the press conference. She said Hinton points a gun, but never showed it. Because you couldn't see nothing in that extremely artificially looking blurred video. I'm telling you, I can go to DaVinci or Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere and take a video and intentionally make it blurry. And it'll look just like that video. They actually have a thing that says blur. And you add as much of it as you want to the video. It's so easy to do. Now, I want to say, hey, let me show y'all and do something in like 45 seconds. Well, it's not that easy. I mean, once the video gets ingested and loaded and all that kind of stuff, for about 45 seconds, you can do that. And then you can export it, and you got a brand new blurry video that you can't see nothing in. I'm telling you, that's what it looks like to me. It looks manipulated. They didn't want you to see nothing so that they could tell you what you see. Jerica says, is this it? Is there no way for the family to appeal this decision? No, this is it. The family can file a civil suit, which they're going to do. But this is it. Connie made the decision. That's that. End of story. Like, appeal to who? There's nobody to appeal to. Pat says, did you see the family press conference that Fanon had? Yes, I did. They showed the gun at the press conference today and it was clear. And they said it was taken with a camera. I mean, for real, it just, again, I'm not saying that she's, I'm not saying that even that it's the wrong, like, I can't see in the video. I can't see it. I can't see. I can't tell what's going on in that video. Turn over all the evidence to a grand jury. Let them decide. Crystal says Connie needs to be voted out. Connie is making some, I perceive, bad decisions. She's the same one who said she's on the side of the cops. Like, okay, fine. You can be pro-cop, but if you're pro-cop, turn it over to a grand jury. Instruct the grand jury to just view the evidence. Don't be pro-cop. Don't be anti-cop. Just look at the evidence and make your decision based on that. The man, I don't remember his name, on 75. She told us what we saw in that video. I looked at the video. I didn't see any of the stuff she said that I was going to see. But she told me I saw it. If you look at that video, you can see. I'm like, I'm looking at the video. I don't see what you say that I see. It all seemed crazy to me. But that's the system of justice that we have. Nate. Now, Nate, I was out of town. I don't thoroughly understand what's going on with the Evan Nolan, Mika Owens, all of that stuff. You have to call in to fill me in. You have to call in to fill me in. But yes, Mary, planting images in your head. And people do that. I've seen it. Not just images, but words. You ever watched a video with subtitles? And sometimes you can't hear what they saying. It's really garbled or muffled or something like that. And you can't understand what they saying. But then they put some subtitles up there. And he'll be like, yeah, he admitted it on video. Like, when did he admit it? He admitted it on video. What? Look, And they reading the subtitles. Take the subtitles off. Tell me what he said. You can't. Because you can't understand what they told you he said what they want you to believe that he said. Or she, whatever the case may be. So they know how to do this stuff. They know what they're doing. They are not new to this. Kim says that the chief is holding a press conference. What is it, a victory lap? Told y'all. Nate says, remember all the times Judge Melvin said she couldn't speak about Judge Hunter's ongoing case? Did anyone hear her on the radio speaking about allegations that Evan Nolan offered a bribe to Mika Owens? Again, you had to call me. And I didn't hear it. I saw a video of it, and I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But yeah, I was telling everybody this whole time, they could talk about that case with Judge Hunter. They just didn't want to. They talk about open cases all the time. They know how to do it. Crystal says, Connie also decided the Nazi situation was just freedom of speech. She has to go. Who do we put in there? And we alone, because this is Hamilton County, this ain't city of Cincinnati, we alone can't put somebody in there. And I used to, for just a minute, I used to wonder, man, why don't these people ever want to talk to me? I'm not saying they scared of me, because ain't no reason to be scared of me. But why answer questions when you don't have to? When you can just talk to somebody that you can tell them what they see, and then they're going to argue that they see what you said that they see. Now, I don't know where the brother was shot, but why am I hearing people saying he was shot in the back? Is that a conclusion that the family's lawyers, is that a conclusion that they have come to? Did they get an independent autopsy and they came to that conclusion? Jerica says, I wouldn't want to talk to you either. Y'all know all I do is ask questions. That's all I do. I don't attack nobody or nothing like that. I just ask questions. I remember my man, he's a congressman, Greg Landsman, got a little upset at me. It was a simple question. How do you not ask the question? 4 people on city council was indicted for something, and right on the heels of that, he comes on my show about something, and before he goes, I ask him, and I say, I had to ask you this question. We're not going to hear about you getting indicted for nothing, are we? And he was upset. How could you ask me that? And I'm like, how could I not ask you that? 4 of 9 has been indicted. How could I not ask you? You ain't doing nothing wrong, are you? How could I not ask that question? And he was a little upset with me about that. I'm like, what are these people who are asking people questions? What are they doing? How are y'all not asking people the questions that are right in front of your face to ask? Just say, no, I haven't done anything wrong, so you don't have to worry about me being indicted. All right, well, thank you for answering the question and enjoy the rest of your day. That seemed like a question that any reasonable reporter or interviewer would ask. But apparently not. Apparently not. Twin.
What's up, E-Man?
Hey, what's up? How you doing, sir?
You had a good gospel thing? Good Father's Day thing? Father's
Sure.
Day.
I had a good Father's Day, yes.
Oh, how about the church convention? What's the music thing?
Yeah, I didn't go to a church convention. I went to a taping of a gospel television show where there's going to be some great gospel music, and it went fine.
Oh, it's going to be on TV?
Yes.
Oh, where you can catch it at?
Well, not sure yet.
Okay.
All of those deals have to be worked out. I know he normally does it. He syndicates it. Last few years it was on BET. A few years before that it was on TV One. So I'm not 100% sure where it's gonna be. Just got to stay tuned.
So you can post it and we can check it out.
Yes, I will. I'll post it and everybody can check it out.
Yeah, that's like you was in the sun too. Like it got a little dark, man.
Everybody keeps saying that, but I was not outside at all.
What's the new AI light fixture or something you got going
The
on?
same setup that I've had the entire time. Maybe I got darker just by being inside. Yeah, I guess.
Man, whatever. You got a Michael Jackson sunband, tan band or something?
Yeah, maybe I've got reverse vitiligo.
No, real talk, though. You like you got darker, though, man.
I might have
From the
reverse
last time we saw
vitiligo.
you.
Instead of my skin lightening, it's darkening.
Okay, man. It's you. All right, brother, man.
What you want me to say?
Man,
You told me I'm darker. I don't know I don't know how to answer
I
that.
say, okay, brother, man. I want to raise my blood pressure because you can push that butt. That's Emanuel for you. Emanuel, man, it's sad. It's sad, Emanuel. You saw the video, right?
I did. I saw the video.
You saw it real clear, right?
No, I saw it as blurry as it could possibly be.
Oh.
That was the blurriest body cam video I've ever seen in my life. So, no, I didn't see anything clear. Honestly, I could not.
So did you see him point a gun at the police?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I was just making sure. It's crazy, man. This is the second time getting off, man. I've seen the videos, different angles and all that, and from what I saw, it wasn't the police that was chasing that shot him. It was the undercover police that did.
Still be the police.
Then, I'm talking about the one that was chasing. But it was the plain police that jumped out the truck that really killed him.
Okay.
And then, Emanuel, excuse me, you had her give away the Nazis and all that from Lincoln Heights. She threw that case out, not charging them.
Right.
But, Emanuel, if I go downtown and start a riot or do something crazy, I'm going to the justice system. Don't you agree?
Yes.
So if I go out there to Lincoln Warehouse or out there by you and go up there, post on the block and act to crash out, I'm going to jail, right?
Possibly, depending on what you do to crash out.
I go up there with a flat black light, or not a black light, I don't know. I go up there with let's get it started flag and all that. I'm going to jail because they go seem like I'm coming to, soliciting and violating all type. They will come up some type of craziness. But this is her second time,
Not
man.
necessarily.
And I was just like, yeah. Well, I was just like I was telling Wyatt, man. And, they got people voted for Connie because they got tired of, Dieters and Powers, whatever her name, and they feel like she was going to do justice for the, in the system. and for the people. And, I admit I voted for her and everything because I thought, old girl, she was running. I'm like, nah, she ain't right and everything. I said, I'll give it a shot. I wish
Hold on,
Bernard
stop.
was on the
Hold on.
ticket, but he
I need to
wasn't.
stop you. I need to stop you for a second. Please don't tell me you regret voting for Connie.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. I'm not. No, it is what it is, man. I don't think bias remorse, none of that. I
Okay.
don't think that. It is what it is. I get what I asked for. That's in any situation.
Okay, but go ahead. You were
Politics,
saying
life, whatever.
something. I interrupted you. I
That's
apologize.
you get what you yeah. No, you cool. You get what you asked for, but don't you think that's kind of odd and crazy, man? If you really look at it, the people voted for you, and we wanted a better change for the community and for Hamilton County, and this the thanks we get, and people really pissed. You let them people Nazis off. Now you letting dude off. It's clear as day he shot that boy for no reason. I mean, yeah, he chased him and all that, but you talking about pointing a gun? Come on now.
Well, I'm not even sure.
Come on.
But hold on. Let me, from my perspective, it wasn't clear as day.
Yeah.
You said you saw multiple angles. I only saw the one.
I mean,
okay?
I've seen so many, Facebook, something else. They put it out there, man, especially that girls' room chat. Man, there's about 20 flicks I've seen, man, of the different angles, and people put it on social media. Like they talking about he pointed a gun.
Wait.
And then some of his cousins I know.
Wait a minute. Just so that I understand, you're saying that on Facebook you saw multiple angles of the actual shooting of Hinton.
Yeah, they showed the video and they showed different angles. And that man, I didn't see that man one time holding a gun pointing at the police. They said I've seen the videos and the pictures, man. Different pictures of it. I said, now one time did I see him pointing a gun at the police officer. And I was like, man, why is she not seeing this? Who's showing her the video? What type of camera they using? A video thing they using in a lab or something, man? And that's not right, man. And I don't know it, man. I don't know.
Well, hold
After
on. Let
this,
me say,
man,
from my perspective, Twin, I don't know if he pointed a gun at police or not. I didn't see him point a gun, but
that's what I'm saying.
But I couldn't see anything in that blurry video. Okay, so I say that's why I say
people
just turn it over to a grand jury, and then that way your hands are clean. Like you like, hey, I don't know, but I turned it over to the grand jury, and they chose not to indict.
Right.
So you can't blame me if they choose to not indict. But when you unilaterally say he didn't do anything wrong because he said so, to me that's a problem.
So that's the next step, the grand jury, right?
No,
or
that
Supreme
was
Court, whatever.
No, the grand jury should have been the first step. She made the decision not to present it to a grand jury
before it hit the Okay, I understand
no,
now.
Look, hold on. She has the option to present it to a grand jury.
Okay.
She chose not to, and just to make the decision on her own that he didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh, I understand now. Okay. Wow, man. Man, money, it'll help a little bit, but it can't bring your loved ones that you love, especially to stupidity of the hands of the police officers, man. It's sad, man. It's very sad in this case and what's really going on around the city of Cincinnati. It's very sad, man. And I don't understand it. And then I look at it like this, Emanuel. That's what I told on White and probably Lincoln Ware, man. We've been crying out for 400 years, Emanuel. And just like I said, you took a white lady to get down there to say this wrong, they killed my husband. But what about our cries and everything, Emanuel? We've been crying about it and what's going on in the black community. But it take a white woman to come down and look you in your face and say, this what happened, y'all wrong, y'all should never let them out. But how many times have other people killed our own and let them out? So you can't have it both ways now. Come on. Even this scale out on both ends, on both sides. And that's all I'm screaming about, man. It's sad, man. It's sad. We all just need to come together as one and stop the, bull back and forth and all that. Especially, man, I thought she at least had some type of, this is wrong. I think she needs to go pray. Like your brother say, go pray. She needs to do that and go figure this out and say, grand jury, whoever, what y'all think? Bring this back up. I wouldn't stop fighting this case because he dead wrong for what he did. Seeing that video in different angles and looking on social media and everything, and it's so clear that, hey, he did not point that gun at you, dude. What you say, you fear for your life? How's you chasing? Come on now. Kill now and ask question later, seem like, man. But, to each his own. You been watching the NBA?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Emmanuel?
Yes.
Oh, it was a showdown last night, man. I can't say that. But they took Flo. You think got it all the way, OKC, or it's going 7?
Because I think it's going 7.
I
think it's going 7. But it's so hard to say, because
what's this 5-6?
But coming up will be game 6. They up 3-2. It's going back to Indiana.
Yeah.
And I could see Indiana winning in Indiana, and then it going to a game 7. And then I don't know who gonna win.
And then they gonna let them play it out.
Yeah, I don't know who
they gonna let
them
play. When they get down like 6 minutes, I think they go. I think, to be honest, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I think Indiana go take it. I don't care. It's going 7, but they man, I don't care if you up by 20. Them boys know how to come out there jam, man.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
I hate to say they know how to come out there jam. So yeah, I gotta go with the Pacers, man. I hate to say it, I'm going with the Midwest. I think them Pacers go get them, man.
All
Well,
right.
night, Holland. You welcome back. I ain't cut you out today, man.
That's always a good
to see you. I'm in good spirits. I must be in good spirits. I like you today, but I might get bipolar tomorrow. Crash out. No, just play. Take care, bro.
I have one quick question before you go. Where do I get a let's get it started flag?
I don't know, man. I'm just saying anything, man.
Oh,
hey, okay. I can go down there in Emanuel basement. Emmanuel, he a demon with that printer, boy. Print you a shirt. Man, you creative. You come with a Nike shirt and it say
Adidas. Got to have an MC Hammer
some stuff you come up with.
Velour troop jumpsuit on it, right?
You said what?
It's got to have MC Hammer in a velour troop jumpsuit, right?
Yeah. You something else, man. Hey, you should make it get it started for you, church. Cause I think that's your good MO, man. Cause you do get it started, man. Hey, I think you should make you one tomorrow whenever you have time, man.
Twin.
That'd be nice. Make sure it's pink like the Lincoln Ware walking club, all right?
All right. Twin, I appreciate your call. All right.
All right, man.
Oh. When he said, let's get it started flag, before y'all, of course, that's the first thing that jump into your head. MC Hammer. Oh. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this justice system. People have been complaining for years about me complaining about the justice system. But I don't like it. I don't like it. But what can you do? What can you do? Somebody called this CK.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Livingston?
CK, I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just like listening to Twin on the phone call. I had to get your thoughts, man.
All right. Well, what's on your mind? Tell me what's on your mind.
What did you think about Travis Hunter? He got the Heisman Trophy winner, and then he did it the right way. He got married before he got one paycheck in the NFL.
I'm not against that. If that man want to marry that woman, then, he married her. And, they together are now going to make all that money. So,
right.
If she decide to leave him, she's very much entitled to half.
Man, it's great. But I wanted to ask you, um, the Diddy trial. Have you been following it?
Oh, not again. When I was out of town, I didn't follow it at all, and so I'm sure that I missed some stuff. The Jane who's on the stand now, I'm hearing updates here and there, but it's pretty much the same stuff, you know. It's the same stuff. Diddy nasty, and Diddy made them do some nasty stuff, and they say they didn't want to do the nasty stuff, but they like Diddy, so they did the nasty stuff for Diddy. But look, we all know it ain't that simple. It was the money, because I've liked some girls, and I wanted them to do some nasty stuff, and they said no to me. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't paying their rent, or you know what I'm saying? I'm not a billionaire, so they're gonna say no to me, but I think the money had a lot to do with them being willing to do all that nasty stuff. I just couldn't imagine any girl that I've ever dated in my entire life, me saying, hey, guess what? I'm nasty, and I got like some nasty stuff. So I got some dude letting pee in your mouth, and then being like, okay, I love you so much, I'll let him pee in my mouth. No, but even me, if I'm a billionaire, and I say that to some chick, she gonna be like, okay, because I love you so much, I want to make you happy. So yeah, some of it is money, a lot of it is money, but at the same time, I still want him to be found guilty, because he did a lot of stuff based on the updates that I'm hearing. He did a lot of stuff that kind of proves the state's case.
Yeah, but I wanted to get your thoughts on, if it was you, right? You big Punisher, right? And you say you 30 years old, we're gonna take you back to when you was 30, right?
All right.
And you're a male stripper, right? So you going around.
When I was 30, I think I might have could have been a male stripper, just so you know.
Exactly. Right? So
right.
This for Big Pun, man. So he's saying he's making $200-300. Most of the women kind of big or whatever. Some of them good looking, but for the most part, 30% good looking. The rest is what you expect. So he says he goes to the door and he opens the door, and the most beautiful woman he ever seen opened the door. Right? She said, "Forget the 300." Now I'm putting you in his situation. Forget the 300, baby. I just want you to come in here. My husband, he gonna be in the back with a mask on, and we gonna give you $2,000. What do you think your reply would have been?
No.
You ain't going for that one?
No.
I think you're a minority. You're the minority of that. I think most guys are folding.
That probably, but no, I'm not doing nothing with no other man in the room. I'm sorry, that's just not how I get down. Soon as another man, now another woman in the room, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But another man in the room, nope.
So do you understand? Do you understand what happened to Big Punisher? Was he compromised?
I don't know what happened to him.
The money. You just said it was the money.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's all that happened to him.
Because you're saying for the normal price, he's not down. They already know what they're doing is a little off the books, because they're giving you 4 or 5 times the amount you're coming to get, right? So you said no, so it wouldn't have happened, right? So
no, it wouldn't have happened.
I just want to get your thoughts on. So it's going on, it's happening. Let's say, hypothetically, it wouldn't happen, but if it did. So as this is going on, then you found out because you bored in the suite, you turn on the TV and they say, "Hey, welcome Sean Combs to the suite," and you found out it's Diddy girl that you've been smashing for a year. What do you think your reaction would be?
I wouldn't care. I mean, I got paid. If I was, gonna do that, I'm doing it for the money. I got paid. I don't care whose girl or whatever it was. I didn't care. You over there in the corner doing whatever. So I didn't care then. I don't care now. It wouldn't matter.
So I just want to ask you personally, do you think when you find out who it is and it's such a famous person, do you think fear sets into the guy at that point when he finds out?
Probably not. It's over.
So you just continue and act like nothing.
You got paid, bro. You did a job. And if that's the type of job you down with doing, you did your job. It's over. What you got to be scared of?
So would you try to get more money?
No, I got the money that I got.
No, I'm saying, but you're finding out on the job.
Don't matter.
You're just doing another job.
Don't matter. I got.
Because I'm thinking once.
I believe when this is just about anything, you agree to do a job for a certain amount of money. You do the job. You get the money that you agreed to, and that's that.
But
You don't later go back and be like, well, I didn't know that you had that much money. Give me some more. No, you agreed. You did the job. That's that.
And when I see a guy like Shannon Sharp, I think when he starts off tricking is and then you find out who it is and you go for the big bucks. See what I mean? Oh, this is Shannon Sharp. This the guy. You know, this is the guy. This guy, he got big time you know what I'm saying, pies.
Well, some people do that. I don't think that's honorable.
That's the game.
I don't think it's honorable.
Yeah, but you're right. But because you said you wouldn't even indulge in that type of activity because that's where it starts. That's where it starts. Like you said, you cannot indulge with, like you said, another man in the room during sexual activity.
No, I couldn't.
That's the rules. And if you can, it's a little fruity pebbles going on.
If you say so.
You know what I mean?
If you say so.
Because you got to understand, what turned Diddy into this type of person is watching your parents have sex, is having sex parties in front of your kids. This would turn him into a sexual deviant, Livingston.
Okay,
he watched his mother.
I don't know that.
No, this is part of the testimony. You're not watching the trial?
Hold on. So Diddy took the stand and said the reason that I do this is because I watch my mama?
No, his girlfriends and stuff.
That's somebody else is saying something. I don't know that to be true.
Oh, I see what you mean. You said it's hearsay.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to tell you, when it comes to those type of activities, that is literally selling your soul. Because you're going against your own principles, Livingston.
All right.
You got to make sure when you're dealing with these people, you make sure you be honorable and never back down. Money means nothing if it's taking your manhood. You know what I mean? And I understand why you would say no.
I kind of agree with you.
Heck yeah, man. Hey, thanks for taking my call, man. I'm going to listen to your platform, Livingston.
Oh, hold on. What do you think about the prosecutor's decision to not send the case to a grand jury?
You talking about the murder son?
The what?
You talking about the son that was murdered? Which case you talking about? The son that was murdered by the police?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that was a mistake. I think he should have put. So he let him off the hook. Now they get to go free.
She let the officer off the hook. Yes.
No. They should be tried for. I think they was wrong for what they did, Livingston. They shot a man in cold blood. It caused the death of another innocent bystander. Remember? So
okay, I'm not even sure that you know what we're talking about now.
The accountability. You talking about the boy that was running with the gun and got killed?
Alleged, yes.
Yeah, the murderer needs to be held accountable, sir. I know exactly what we're talking about. He needs to be held accountable. That was the wrong. They should have been held accountable. You shouldn't let those people run free. Not after you kill someone.
Okay.
They're dangerous. Listen, sir, they're dangerous.
Okay.
Make sure. I think it was a wrong decision. You need to get people like that off the street because I believe if you kill once, you will murder again. And it might be racial bias behind these homicides. So I think, yes, it was a mistake. They should be held accountable. Stop letting people kill people because of the color of their skin. That's my stand.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your call. All right. I'm not sure that I understood what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying something. I don't know what he was saying. 'Cause I think he was saying someth But he didn't call to talk about that, so that's my bad. 513-717 King, 513-717-5464. That's the number to get on board. I just wanted to know his thoughts. That's it. I just wanted to know his thoughts. What else is going on? What else is going on out here? Nate?
What up, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
Well, let's talk about it. So, let me start with the decision today to not indict or not even seeking a grand jury
Right.
on the cop. It's so much. I didn't really call to talk about that, but I want to tie it in. Man, so they still won't release the cop's name.
They still won't release his name, but they say they're being transparent.
They've been transparent, but won't release his name. I think somebody somewhere has dropped the ball in Cincinnati because, I've been kind of wanting to raise this issue about y'all got a citizen complaint authority, and, that came from the collaborative agreement, and then the collaborative agreement, they took it in front of city council, and city council voted on it and made it a part of the law. So it's no longer a agreement. It's no longer a court settlement agreement. It's a part of the city's law. And yet you got 9 council members who aren't making sure it's enforced. You got a black woman named Iris Rowley who every time you talk about the collaborative agreement, this city contractor pops up and basically tries to shut down anybody who's raising any questions about it. And a couple of things that I know that the Citizen Complaint Authority, number one, they're supposed to do along with, while the city's doing their investigation, they're supposed to be doing an independent investigation, right? And my understanding is they haven't been doing that. They've got the Citizen Complaint Authority has a specific number of days to get their investigation together. They're not doing that. They've got by law, they're supposed to have a certain number of investigators. They don't have them. The city manager, from what I hear, city manager is over the police chief, but she basically has washed her hands of it. She's not doing any management. Cheryl Long is not doing any management of that police chief. The police chief is just basically running wild. I would say in some ways the situation with the city and with the police department is worse now than it has been since I've been paying attention. And I've been paying attention for I'm 55, so I've been paying attention ever since I came back from the Army. So, something wrong, and nobody's really pushing on it. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's shining the light on it. Nobody's asking questions of the city manager or the mayor. It's like, certain people getting paid and other people who ain't getting paid saying, well, I ain't doing it. I ain't looking into it. So it's a systemic problem at the city level and at the county level. Now, let me pause to see if you want to say something about that before I move on to this whole issue with Melba Marsh.
No, I kind of agree with you. I think, honestly, I think some people are kind of hiding behind the collaborative agreement. And my issue has been I want to be on that citizens review board real bad. And, I realize it's never going to happen. And it does bother me that it's not going to happen because I'm not, as I believe Cecil Thomas said, you're not pro-police, so you ain't never getting on that board.
Which is exactly the type of people you don't need on there. You need people who are pro-fairness, who are pro the law.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's too bad. So, I kind of went silent for a couple of months, and I shared with you. I'll share some of what I shared with you. After Mika Owens made the decision to appoint Evan Nolan, people got mad about it for a lot of, I believe, valid reasons. And so, but then they count on the black community getting mad for a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and then everything sort of dying down. And you can almost depend upon certain Negroes and ninjas, no matter what you try to do, they gonna come up and justify it, and it's another way to do it, and let's just take the political route, and let's just stop her from getting the appointment and Democratic endorsement, and let's just fight her at the next election. And then along the way, you got some people who are gonna say, in hindsight, I really ain't got no problem with her appointing Evan Nolan because, the black people, they wasn't voting 100% as a solid block. And so what if she appointed a white person to take the black majority? So with that, I kind of, I'm in Toledo, so I kind of left it alone too. But I had put in, before I left it alone, I had put in a number of public record requests, right?
All right.
So I'm looking at the public record requests, and I'm looking at the responses, and I had raised up before I kind of put it to bed, where Mika had listed what she was asking these people during the interviews and what their responses was. And if you, let's say I don't know how to get a good example, but basically, when you come and interview with me, if I'm on council, or let's use Lincoln Ware. He's always a good person to use as an example.
And he loves being used as the example.
I know. So Lincoln Ware is on the Veterans Service Commission, right? Now,
that's what I hear.
As far as I know, he got on the Veterans Service Commission because of Alicia Reese. Somehow they went and said, we're going to have 3 new positions, and each one of the county commissioners get to pick somebody. And so Alicia Reese went and picked Lincoln Ware. Now, let's say that Alicia had a process where she said, I'm taking resumes, I'm taking applications because I'm going to have to appoint somebody. And Alicia submitted in writing or reduced to writing the fact that during her interview with Lincoln Ware has said, hey, if you put me on the Veteran Service Commission, which I don't remember how much he gets paid, but we know city council gets paid about $60,000 a year. If you give me this paid position, in exchange for that, I'm going to put some money in your pocket. I'm going to help you raise funds. That is a bribe. in the clearest language possible, that's a bribe. If you don't mind, I got it right in front of me. The law says no person with purpose to corrupt a public servant or party official or improperly to influence a public servant or party official with respect to the discharge of the public servant's or party official's duty, whether before or after the public servant or party official is elected, appointed, qualified, employed, summoned, or sworn, shall promise, offer, or give any valuable thing or valuable benefit. Now, fundraising is a thing of value. Evan Nolan, before he was on council, he was the treasurer for the mayor of Cincinnati. The reason he was a treasurer was because he was good at raising funds. He got a whole bunch of wealthy friends. He's an attorney down there at a big firm. He lived out there in Oakley on Hyde Park Lane or Hyde Park Street or whatever it's called. Evan Nolan had something to offer Mika, something of value. And it's improper to, during a interview for a position, it's improper, it's illegal for you to offer that to the person who's going to make the decision on whether or not you get the job. It's a classic quid pro quo, something for something. So I went and found the law. Now, let me, one more quick point before I get to last week. So I'm spilling the beans. I participated in a couple of secret meetings with some folk. I went to Cincinnati a couple of times. Some of these were on telephone, and if FBI is listening to my phone or watching this podcast, they might be going to check my records because they're going to want to know who I met with and who I talked to. Almost to a person, everybody said, Nate, you won't tell us what you're thinking, but whatever you do, please don't come after Mika, because people ain't going to like it. They're going to say, you going after a black woman. You going after a sister. So if you do something against Evan or you do something against the mayor, we going to be with you. We don't want to give you no instructions or no support, but please, please, please don't do nothing to Mika. So I took that into consideration, right? Now, so I went and read through the law, and I found out that in Ohio, everybody, me, you, all the people listening, we got a right to make a citizen's arrest. There's a procedure. It's laid out in the law. How do you make a citizen's arrest? Now, it used to be that you could just go down to the clerk's office and swear out a statement and do the arrest. Well, in 2006, the legislature changed the law a little bit. And so effective June the 30th, 2006, what you have to do is, if you know you have evidence that somebody committed a felony, and my evidence is going through Mika's personal notes, through her emails, basically she told on herself, big dummy. So if you have...
Hold on, wait. Because here's a question that a number of people are asking. You're saying you somehow know that this promise was made. How are you so sure that this promise, what you're considering a bribe, was articulated?
Yeah, thanks for stopping me, because I'm unlike Key, who I haven't been listening. I miss her voice. I can't really read through these things and talk to you and read through my paperwork that I got in front of me all at the same time. So, in case I didn't make it clear, I went and did a public record request. I didn't break into Mika's computer. I didn't break into her telephone. I didn't sneak and go through her garbage cans like Marcus Dinkins allegedly did to Alicia Reese years ago. I simply followed the law, sent a public records request for all of her official city council notes, emails, memos, letters, as well as anything on her personal phone that she used for government business. So I wanted to know all the back and forth. What happened between her and all of the people that she interviewed? So what they sent me back was stuff from like Christy Combs, who was one of her wise people, stuff from between her and Cynthia Booth, who was one of her wise people. You know what I'm saying? And so I read through the stuff. Mika, in her own words, acknowledged that during her interview with Evan, she asked and Evan offered to give her this thing of value, and I just read you the law, that is a bribe. So now the citizen's arrest part. So the law says, okay, if you got this evidence that somebody committed a felony, you don't have to go. You can go to the police. You can go to the FBI. You can go to the prosecutor. You can go to the sheriff. You got a whole bunch of things and places that you can go to. But you can also bypass those individuals who might be compromised. Like, let's say in this situation, you think the Cincinnati police is going to fairly investigate two council people? Of course not. You think that the prosecutor, Connie Pillage, who we just finished talking about, who stands to benefit if Evan goes through on his promise to raise funds for the Democratic Party, and she's a member of the Democratic Party, you think she's going to fairly investigate? Of course not. You think so you say, well, why didn't you? One of the things the judge said yesterday, and I'm trying to keep it in chronological order, but is, well, why don't you go to the FBI? They came against 3 different council people. Because let me handle my strategy. I might want to exhaust this particular strategy, and then maybe I will go to the FBI. Or for all you know, maybe I already went to the FBI. Or maybe I got somebody else going to the FBI. The point is, the job of a judge is not to say, well, I don't think you ought to do this. I think you ought to do that. The job of a judge is to follow the law. And the legislature writes the law, not the judges. So the legislature says, if you produce one of these affidavits and you present it to the judge, you don't present it to the clerk, you present it to the judge. And let me tell you, you might know this, but some of your listeners might not know this. You know how police officers get search warrants? They come up with an affidavit. They waltz in the court. They say, hey, judge, can I get a minute? The judge says, oh, what you got there? I got an affidavit for a search warrant. The judge says, okay, during my next break, I got some time. And when the judge gets time, they say, okay, police officer or detective or whoever it is with this affidavit, they say, raise your right hand. They swear them in. Is everything in this affidavit truth? The whole truth, nothing but the truth, or whatever whatever it is. And they say, yeah. And then the judge proceeds to read the affidavit. And if she or he has questions, then they ask the police officer questions. It's a similar procedure for when you want to go make a citizen's arrest, you want to get an arrest warrant. So the legislature said, you go to a common pleas court judge, you present this affidavit, and I said the judge is going, whoever judge is going to try to be slick. They're going to say, well, you brought an affidavit in here, but you didn't get it notarized before you came. So I stopped off at the bank and got it notarized, even though the judge is supposed to notarize it while you're there in the courtroom. But of course, I bought a blank copy too, just in case the judge wanted to follow the proper procedure. So I show up on Friday. You know how I be wrestling with the Holy Ghost, the Spirit, or whatever it is you want to say, and it wouldn't turn me loose until Friday. So on Friday, I said, I got all this done. I done dotted my I's and crossed my T's. I done checked all this stuff. It's ready to go. So when the Holy Spirit released me, I got in my car and I drove on down to Cincinnati, and I wanted to go see Judge Robert Rue. Now, I told this on Lincoln Ware Show, too, because some people going to say it's a catch-22. On one hand, they say, why you try to bring a black woman judge into this mess? But on the other hand, they say, why didn't you go to a white person? So my original plan was to go see Judge Robert Rule Man. who you might, I don't know how long your memory is, but when Leslie Isaiah Gaines was still alive, we had some falling outs with Judge Rubin. We, in fact, came up with a nickname for him. We used to call him Judge Rude Man and Judge Two Sets of Rules Man, you know, because he was, in some instances, he was unfair to black people and he was hooking white people up. So, number one, we do call white people names. I do call white people names from time to time. It's just part of how I operate. So, Judge Ruhlman, if you remember, had presided over these cases with the Gang of Five. You know, Wendell Young, I can't even remember who the other five was, but I knew that in order to do those cases, he had to familiarize himself with the Cincinnati Charter. And he was, you know, people think that a judge knows all the laws on everything. Well, not really. So I figured he was probably pretty familiar with Cincinnati's laws and with the Charter. Right. So I wanted to go to him. Plus, I'm going to just say this. I don't care how it sounds. My experience is white men who judges, they don't run around talking about what they can't do. They don't run around talking about, you know, they lean into their power.
Right.
They lean into their role. Whereas certain judges like Judge Melba Marsh, when you put them on the spot and ask them to do something that's not done all the time, and it might be a little hard, it might cause some blowback, they go to telling you that you ought to do something different, and they act scary. So they act like second-class judges. So I wanted to go to a first-class judge, and that was Judge Robert Rubin. And if he looked at my stuff, so when you get in front of the judge has two options. That's it. The judge has to review. The law requires them to review your affidavit. And then they have to make a determination. Either there's probable cause to believe that the crime you alleged has occurred, and if there's a probable cause finding, then they must issue out the arrest warrant. Now, I know a lot of people say, that's just, like Lincoln Ware, that can't be true. You said you didn't hear it. He said, you're telling me that Sharon could go downtown and give an affidavit and say that I engaged in some domestic violence or slapped her around, and that the judge could just give an arrest warrant for me? And I said, yes. He still couldn't believe it. I gave him an example of a guy that actually it happened to in Cincinnati and Hamilton County. The guy was named M-O-R, how do you pronounce that? More? M-B-O-D, M-B-O-D-J-I. And this guy, his wife came down to court, said he had engaged in domestic violence, went in front of, at the time, she went in front of the clerk. They hadn't changed the law yet. Went in front, or it's a little complicated. They had changed the law, but she did it wrong, and she still got away with it. But she went to the clerk. The clerk accepted it. The clerk actually gave her arrest warrant. She didn't even go see the judge at first. The guy went in front of Judge Lisa Allen. He said, wait a minute. She didn't follow the law. She didn't follow the rules. Judge Lisa Allen said, well, she might not have technically followed the law, but I'm allowing that arrest warrant to stand, and you're going to stand trial. He stood trial. He lost. He got convicted. He got found guilty. He appealed it up to the Court of Appeals. He lost. He appealed it up to the Ohio Supreme Court. He lost. So you know this. When a Court of Appeals says this is the law in this district, that's the law for the trial court level, which is the common pleas court. When the Ohio Supreme Court says this is the law, that means that's the law for the whole Ohio. So this guy, Mboji, just went all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court. It's from Hamilton County. It's unreasonable for a judge in Hamilton County who's been there all these years, including when this case was working its way through the system, to now say, I'm not familiar with that case, and that's not how the procedure works, and I don't have to follow what the Ohio Supreme Court says. That's unreasonable. So the number one thing they can do is say, probable cause, they must issue out the arrest warrant. The second option is they can say, I reviewed this. It's just, I don't think it's probable cause to believe that crime has been committed. And therefore, I must refer this to the prosecutor. So, those circumstances, do you, the private citizen, have to take it to the prosecutor? You get to the judge, and either the judge gives you the arrest warrant or the judge sends it to the prosecutor. Now, so I go down there. Judge Ruhlman is unavailable. It was like the courthouse closed at 4 o'clock. I got there about 3:30. He was gone for the weekend. Judge Marsh was the duty judge. So by default, if I wanted some action on it on Friday, I had to take it to her. You can't really just pick and choose judges, even though the law ain't real specific on it. But probably you need to go through the duty judge. And those change every week. They have a different duty judge. So Judge Marsh, I walk in, I say, hey, Judge. Now, she's been listening to the Lincoln Ware Show, right?
Yeah.
And I'm cool with judges listening to the Lincoln Ware Show or any other show. I like them to be in tune with the community. But what you shouldn't do is hear Lincoln say something like, oh, they going to laugh you out of court if you ever come down here with that stuff. And then you already made up your mind. You already predicted what's in the document, and you ain't going to say, well, I'm not going to even read that. That's what she told me. I'm not going to read that. She wouldn't even touch it. So, in the courtrooms, you have two big tables, right? One where the prosecutor sits and his team, one where the defense attorney sits and their team. Judge Marsh was not sitting behind the bench. She came out of her office. She walked over to the table. She stood on one side of the table. I stood on the other side. So I pulled my affidavit out of my little case. I say, here, Judge, I wanted to get some action on this affidavit. She said, I'm not touching that, Mr. Livingston. I said, well, okay, well, what, you want me to read it to you? No. I'm not touching that with, I think she said, with a 10-foot pole. So I'm like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying to myself? Like, what do you mean you're not going to touch it? So I literally walked down to her side of the table and lay it on the table in front of her for her to pick it up and read it. I wish I had a video so you could see this. She scoots the paper as if it's got poison on it or something, scoots the paper back down to me and emphasizes again, I'm not touching that. So I'm like, so that's when I say, well, Judge, you're the duty judge. You have to touch it. It's like you by default. So every time I try to talk to her, say something like, Judge, I'm here because of this law, or she keeps cutting me off like Judge Marsh does. She talks over me, cuts me off. So then she tells her person, one of her courtroom staff, she said, go in the back and look in my purse and bring my phone out here. I have no idea what we're doing now. So I start trying to talk. She said, shh, no, don't talk. So I'm like, we're standing in silence in the courtroom. The person brings her phone back. She calls Lincoln Ware. She got him on speed dial. Puts him on speakerphone. Hey, Lincoln, guess who I've got here? It's Nate Livingston. He brought me this thing. He wants me to, on Friday, issue out an arrest warrant for Mika Owens. What do you think about that, Lincoln? So Lincoln's like, ow, Nate. I told him not to bring that down here. It's weird. I'm like in La La Land. I can't believe this is happening. So she's basically talking to Lincoln, but also talking to me, telling me, I don't know why he's doing this. Mika just got endorsed by her party. I don't know what he's trying to get me in, trying to pull me into. So I'm like, Judge, would you just, if you just read it, if you just let me read it to you. So she's like, so I finally say, Judge, I'm not being rude. You know, that ain't in me to treat an elderly black woman rudely. Plus, she's a judge, you know what I'm saying? So I say, just after she had said about 3 or 4 times that I was there to get an arrest warrant for Mika Owens, I said, Judge, if you look at the document, it don't even say Mika Owens. I'm here to get an arrest warrant for Evan Nolan. So she's like, Evan Nolan? Well, so then she goes back to Lincoln. Well, Lincoln, he's down here to get an arrest warrant for Mika Owens, and I just don't know why he's doing this. If he thinks it's a crime, why doesn't he go to the FBI? Why doesn't he go to the prosecutor? He shouldn't be down here in front of me. So I'm like, oh, my God. So she refused. So I say, Judge, okay, if you're going to deny it, then you should at least go on the record and put it in writing. Now, remember when we worked at the firm, one of the things that always came out in appeals was a court only speaks through its record. Meaning, if it ain't in writing, it ain't real. It didn't happen, basically, in the eyes of the higher court.
Right.
And you know I did basically hundreds of appeals. So Judge Melba Morse knew that, and that's why she didn't want to put it on the record. Now, she called Lincoln Ware, and that's on my Facebook page for anybody who was interested who didn't hear that call. It went 30 minutes long. I couldn't believe Lincoln had us on that long. I talked for about 15 minutes, then she called and talked for about 10 minutes, and then we went back and forth for about 5 minutes. So she calls Lincoln that Monday and says, he acted like I had to go on the record, like I had to give him a hearing. I never said that. I never said it. I never suggested it. It's nowhere in this affidavit. I never said it. What I did tell her was what I just told you. You have to put if you're going to deny this and you're going to come back. I didn't know she was going to come back later on and pretend that she had actually read it and reviewed it. I'm like, you're going to have to put this in writing. See, what that does also is, let's say that my option now was to go to the Court of Appeals. They would say, before you come into the Court of Appeals, you need a final appealable order.
Right.
See? And so her doing what she did, I guess she feel like, oh, he can't appeal it. Well, little do she know that I know there are other ways to get an order from a higher court to force a trial court like her to do their job, which is to follow the law. And so then she refused to do it. Now, let's talk about some of the troubling things that happened during that call. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, and you read it, you couldn't call when Tracy Hunter was the issue. None of the black judges could. None of the Democratic judges could. They all said when it's an issue that's in the court, and by me being in her courtroom, clearly I brought this matter from the radio into the courtroom. They kept telling us, we can't talk about it. We would love to talk about it. So why you can talk about this case, Evan Nolan's case? Number two, I went back and listened to it because part of what I'm doing with this filing, I am going to the Ohio Supreme Court. I am going to get a order from them directed to her and to all the rest of the common police court judges. But I'm transcribing her conversation on the radio, and that's why I'm not done with it yet. Plus, I keep getting sidetracked. Anyway, she's making all these excuses. Basically, she's prejudging. Well, I don't see where that's a bribe. That's out of order. I don't know if that's clear to people. But you as a judge should not be saying that somebody didn't commit a crime before all the evidence is in. So I can see if I was on the team, if I was the paralegal for the attorney representing Evan Nolan, we would have a copy of that. So if a arrest warrant and an indictment did come down, we'd say, wait a minute, Judge Melba Morris looked at this stuff. Which she didn't, but she said she did on the radio. Judge Melba Morris looked at this stuff. She said there's no crime committed. So you get what I'm saying? That was very devilish of her to do that. Then she
sounds like she did a lot of improper, unethical, immoral stuff.
Yeah, and so talking about a case, and I think she thought she was clever because she could go back and say, I never defended Evan Nolan. I just defended Mika. She said, oh man, I ain't got it here. She basically accused me of engaging in dirty tricks and dirty politics, some real insulting stuff for a judge to be saying. And, I kind of thought about like, man, this is really unethical. I could probably take you, to the judicial council, but I don't want to lose focus.
But I'm going to tell you what's going to frustrate me about you is that you won't take it to the judicial council because those judges down there and the people down there who are friendly with people, i.e. Lincoln or anybody else, should not be allowed to use their personal relationships as a tool to be unethical. She needs to be brought before somebody, and something needs to be done about it.
Okay, but here, at least hear me out on this.
I'm gonna hear you,
and you can still feel how you feel. My goal right now is to target Evan Nolan.
I get it.
So if I can get wrapped up, this stuff takes time. I'm already agreeing to go file this in the Ohio Supreme Court. That's going to require a number of filings, and they got a whole team of lawyers. Connie Pillage is going to be her lawyer once this lawsuit gets filed. So, you get what I'm saying? So
I do.
I don't want it. The disciplinary process is a whole separate process, and I just don't want to. I'm only one person.
Maybe we can tag team this one. Maybe we can tag team this one. No, I'm serious because I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And something has to be done about it because stuff like that happens way too much.
Okay, what do you say to people who, and I know we shouldn't care about this, but I'm just asking. Somebody gonna say, why are you coming after the black judge? When have y'all ever filed a tag team and got together, put your heads together and filed a complaint against any of these white judges? What do you say to that?
I hope ain't no kids listening. I say shut the fuck up and mind your own business. That's what I say about it. An unethical judge is an unethical judge, and unethical judges need to be dealt with, and they little friends too.
Well, we can definitely talk about it. We
Yes.
can definitely talk about it. But let me see if there's any more points I wanted to make. Something else she said during that call. The fact that she kept lying and saying, at first she admitted and again, I've listened to it a couple of times. At first, it seemed like she was admitting that she hadn't read it. But then I guess maybe something clicked. It was almost like I could see the wheels turning in her brain, even though I wasn't looking at her. But she started changing her conversation subtly to say, oh, no, I did review it. Oh, no, I did look at the stuff you presented. Oh, and I made a finding that there was nothing there. And that's when she went to start calling me names and insulting me, talking about I was a dirty trickster and her mother, bringing her mother's name up. My mother told me this was the season where bull, and you put the other word behind it, Lincoln. And so that's where we're at. I'm not gonna let it go. I'm gonna have to have my information reviewed, and if this ain't a bribe, I don't know what is. A lot of people, including a lady I think we both genuinely respect, Sister Janice, is on there like, well, I think you should have gone to the prosecutor. After listening to Judge Melba, I really do think you should have gone. Now, not only do I feel like Judge Marsh made herself look like she thinks of herself as a second-class judge, because then she kept saying, well, take it to one of the other judges. Let me tell you what the problem is with that. And I meant to look it up. But there is a term. Basically, once you go to a judge and they look at your stuff, even though she didn't look at it, you can't just take it to another judge. And they whipped that on me in some case I did a couple of years ago, and it stuck with me. But so even that was a fake move to the listening to the people who listen to the buzz. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So she's saying something. Why don't you take it to one of these other judges, knowing that once it was presented to her, I can't just take it to another judge. Now, Tashima Nicole, FBK's cousin, had made a good point in the comments. She said, you know what? If Judge Marsh really felt like this, she was already prejudiced from the time you walked in the door. She had the option to say, I recuse myself from this. That she could have done. That would have been proper. Then she could have called Lincoln Ware. They could have laughed about it, and all that would have been cool. But to not recuse yourself from it and to not rule on it and to pretend that you left the door open for me to go to another judge. And again, not only would another judge not take it, Evan Nolan, once the arrest warrant comes down, Evan Nolan and his team would say, nah, he had to take it back to Judge Marsh because she was the first one he presented it to. You know, and so I just really think it was deceptive. It was wrong. She should have never called. She's a judge, a longtime judge, and it really concerns me that so many people are so gullible that even without reading the law, they ain't read now laws that we talking about. Ain't read now case, but they all got all these strong opinions. We strongly believe that Judge Marsh is right and that you're wrong. We strongly, and I'm like, come on. So to take it back to the very beginning of this conversation, these same people who will acknowledge that it's some problems going on with Connie Pillage and that office down there, will then turn around and say, well, I don't think you should have took that to Judge Marsh. I think you should have taken it over to the prosecutor. It's crazy. And then finally, again, y'all don't know if I'm going to also take it to the FBI. One don't stop me from doing another. But right now, my focus as far as the local courts is concerned is I'm going to insist upon this particular statute. If a woman can come get a black man arrested using this statute, and it can go all the way up through the chain of appeal courts, and she can survive, and they say that this is justified, I'll be damned. I can come get an arrest warrant for a white man. I don't care how rich he is. I don't care how powerful he is. I don't care how well connected he is. I don't care if he used to be the treasurer for the mayor. I don't care I don't care. I'm not going to stop until I get an arrest warrant for Evan Nolan, or I get a fair look at this affidavit and the evidence that I've collected, and somebody say there's not probable cause, and we're going to send it over there to Connie Pillage for her to sit on it and do the same thing she just did with this cop who killed that man, who killed that boy.
All right.
All right. You got any more questions for me?
No.
I appreciate you, man.
All right. All right. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I take his word for it because he usually don't be lying to me. But it made me mad. It made me mad. I'm going to tell y'all, it made me mad because I've seen judges operate that way. And that irritates me. It should irritate you. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't like Nate. So I don't care if the judge was improper and unethical and, didn't either know or follow the law. I get that people feel that way. I get that people feel that way. But, and I don't have an axe to grind against Evan Nolan. That's not my concern. But I don't like, I know it's hard I don't like it when the legal system don't work the way it's supposed to work, or when people within the legal system play games like is alleged to have happened. And because if a judge will play that kind of game on that, they'll play that kind of game on anything. If my buddy said that this case is no good, then this case is no good. Matter of fact, I'm going to call my buddy while you in the courtroom to laugh at you. I don't care how you feel about Nate. You think that's proper? You think that's proper? If that happened, you think that's proper? You think that's the way a judge should conduct him or herself? No, I'm asking a legitimate question. I want people to tell me, do you think that's proper? If I come to court for anything, do you think it's proper that the judge in the case call their friend to discuss what's happening in real time in the courtroom? Do you think that's proper? I'm specifically asking the people who, I can't stand Nate, Jason, Vernon. Do y'all think that's proper? If that happened, do y'all think that's proper? Y'all think that's the way a judge should act? Y'all think that's the way a judge should rule? That's the stuff that I don't like. That's the stuff that irritates me. The whole Evan Nolan thing, and whether it's a bribe or whether it's not a bribe or whatever, let that be whatever it is. But there are procedures. Like, I don't talk about it much. I worked for a short amount of time at Lawson's law firm. When I was working there, Nate was working there. That's why he said when we worked at the firm. That's what he was talking about. So when I worked at Lawson's firm, Nate worked at Lawson's firm and a few other people. And I learned a lot working at Lawson's firm. And I know there are procedures. I think it was Jason. No, it was Vernon. Like, was he on the docket? There are procedures. You don't have to be on the docket. Like he said, if a police officer goes out and he's like, oh, let me get a search warrant. He doesn't wait until he's on the docket. That's not the way it works. There are procedures and there are rules. And I don't like that. I don't like it. Because again, you can't convince me if she did it this time, she's probably done it before. And believe me when I tell you, I'm telling you, I know that there are improper communications. Specifically between Lincoln Ware and at least one or two of them judges down there. I don't know if they're the ones that are still down there. Well, clearly at least one. So Vernon, you never answered my question. Is that proper? I get it. You don't like Nate. If she did what he alleges that she did, Vernon, is that proper? People don't want to answer those. Those seem like hard questions. To me, those are the simple questions. And if it's not proper, what should happen? What should happen? So that's why I'm be worried about people talking about, oh, but why'd you going after it? Then don't do it. Don't do it. Y'all don't know. Stuff like that burns me up. Stuff like that burns me up. And believe it or not, it's not, and some people are not going to believe it. It's not because it's Nate. If you called me with the same story, I went to, Vernon won't answer the question. Vernon says, I have no problem with a judge not issuing an arrest warrant in that situation. That's not what I asked you. You can pull that on somebody else. I asked you, if someone is down there in her court on business and she calls Lincoln Ware to tell what's going on and laugh about it to Lincoln Ware in her courtroom while the business is going on, is that proper, Vernon? He not going to answer. He going to dance around it. I'm asking you, was her conduct proper? But it wouldn't have mattered to me who the person was. If that happens, it's improper. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to not happen. Judges should actually just follow the law. Just follow the law. It's not that hard to ask of a judge. Follow the law. Judges can recuse themselves. See, that's the simple part of it. Like, if I'm a judge and my brother walks into my courtroom, I say, I can't hear this case. Wow, that's my brother. I can't hear this case. I had to recuse myself. If I've already made up my mind about a thing, and then that case comes before me, I can't hear this case. Why? I'm biased. I already made up my mind. I need to recuse myself. I know y'all hear me every once in a while. I'm not talking about this is honorable and that ain't honorable and so on and so forth. I really believe in doing what I ain't no judge. I ain't swore to uphold nothing. I believe in doing what's honorable. Shouldn't we ask that of our judges? Excuse me. So I'll probably honor his wishes, but I'm going to definitely call him. Because I get it. You ain't got time to be doing this and time to be doing that. I got time. I got time. But if he say, I just leave it alone, I'll angrily leave it alone. But this is the justice system that we dealing with. This is the justice system that we're dealing with. And again, I keep saying, assuming that what he said happened actually happened. I wasn't there, so I can't say with 100% certainty that it happened. I had to go back and listen to because I wasn't listening that day. I had to go back and listen. But trust me, y'all, this ain't new. This ain't new. So we got a prosecutor that won't send cases to a grand jury because she wants to unilaterally make that decision. We got judges who allegedly won't look at paperwork and call their buddies to laugh about legal matters. And this is what we calling a justice system. You got people who won't even consider people being on that citizens review board because you're not pro-cop. You're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to go in with an open mind. I'm not pro-cop. I'm not anti-cop. Show me the evidence. Again, my issue ain't whether or not she issues an arrest warrant for Evan Nolan. I don't know about all of that. I don't know about all of that. But people should do the right thing in their position. Right, Mary, just do your job fairly. Look at it and say, I don't see no evidence that is what you say it is. And then follow the procedure. Refer it to the prosecutor. Then you did what you were supposed to do. Janice, I did. I watched it. Janice says, watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on HBO. He talked about the juvenile justice system pertaining to our young children, and specifically how judges make non-legal judgments to incarcerate children as young as 7 years old, of course, mostly black. She says it is frightening. Yeah, I did watch that. Vernon doesn't blame the judge for not touching that nonsense. I'm sorry, she has a job to do. Your job is to look at it and say, I don't see any probable cause. There's absolutely a problem with a judge not touching that nonsense. There's absolutely a problem with that. If you go through the proper process and say you file a lawsuit, a judge can't look at that and say, ooh, I like that car company. I'm not touching that lawsuit. Nope, I'm not even considering it. They can't do that. What? The bank swindled you and you suing? Nah, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. I like that bank. I like that bank. No, I'm not touching that lawsuit. Get that out of here. Who would say that that would be appropriate? Because you don't like it? It's inappropriate. If she did what he says she did, it's inappropriate. And there should be some consequences. Vernon says, stand strong, Judge Marsh. Right. Don't do your job. Call outside people while in court not doing your official duties to mock the whole process. Right. That's what we want from our judges. And you see and you hear stuff like this, and you see and you hear people supporting stuff like this, but then they don't understand why the justice system don't actually work, because they support people in the justice system not doing what they supposed to do. Oh, it's crazy. Life is crazy. Some people crazy. And if she did that, she knows she out of line. She knows she out of line. And again, I didn't hear it, but if she did it and then called in to lie about it, that's why she called in to lie about it, because she knows she was out of line. And some people be like, how you sleep when you do something like that? People who do stuff like that sleep very well. Because they don't care. They don't care. They used to doing stuff like that. Only time that people feel bad about people who consistently do stuff like, bad, feel bad about doing bad stuff is when they get caught and face consequences for doing bad stuff. Then they still don't feel bad about the bad stuff. They really just feel bad that they got caught and that they have to suffer consequences. But you always got somebody who support bad. And they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. But it's always at least one. Always at least one. All right, y'all. I got to get ready to get out of here. But I'll talk to him later tonight. And if he want to just let it go, I'll be mad. But I'll just let it go. Tanika says, I know this was mentioned before, but I'm still struggling to understand why the judge called Lincoln, especially on air. Because more than likely, because she knew she was wrong. And again, I didn't hear the call. But more than likely, when you know you're wrong, you don't want people, you want to catch people before they say how wrong you are. And flip it somehow. You know, hey, let me tell you what happened with the judge. Well, the judge know what happened with the judge. So the judge got to call in. Hey. Got to give my side. Got to give my side. Yeah, he could pray about it. He could call me and then he can pray about it. But I'm ready. I'm ready. Cause I have time. While he handling that, which I don't know nothing about, I can handle that. Twin say, but I'm sure he mean Lincoln never mentioned he talked to Nate in court. That's what maybe some of y'all who actually called the show, ask him, did he get a call while in court? Tomorrow, call him and ask him. Like, did Judge Marsh call you while Nate was in court with the documents telling you what he was doing? Ask him. Now, just to be clear, saying yes or him saying no or whatever, you never know what he's gonna say. He's not an honest man. He will lie straight to your face, stone-faced, as he's a good liar. Jacqueline says he said she called him. He said she called while Nate was standing there and she was looking at the papers. Vernon said, I thought he admitted it yesterday. Okay, so then Daryl said he gonna deny it. Again, I didn't hear him. I didn't have an opportunity to listen to his show. So basically, I can stop saying if she actually did that because Lincoln has admitted that while the judge was in court and Nate was in court presenting her with the paperwork that she called Lincoln on the cell phone while that was happening, Lincoln admitted that. He didn't say he called why Nate was there. That's what I'm saying. I ask him, did that happen? Again, he may tell the truth, he may not. He's 50-50. He's 50-50, you never know. And he is a good liar. And we not enemies. I'm just telling you the truth. He be lying. Y'all remember these lights? Y'all remember I used to have these lights in the studio? And I had left them there one weekend. I think it was a weekend, or maybe I was off that day. I don't remember. Either way, and he used to always want to use the lights, and I used to tell him no, he couldn't use the lights. And one day I was off. I don't remember why or whatever. I come up the elevator. I get off the elevator, and I see him in the studio doing his show. He got my lights on. I didn't say nothing. I did what I had to do. I went around the back way and got what I had to get, and I left. And then that Monday, or whatever that next day was, I'm pretty sure it was that Monday, I asked him point blank, Lincoln, did you use my lights? I could swear it was a Saturday. Did you use my lights on Saturday? And he said with the straightest face, no. Why would I use your lights? I didn't use your lights. I don't use your lights. I know you don't want me to use your lights, so I don't use your lights. I said, Lincoln, I watched your live stream, and it didn't look like it looked now. Did you use my lights? No, I didn't use your lights. I said, okay. And that was it. I just left it at that. But again, I saw with my own eyes. And he was as straight-faced as he could be, almost incredulous. Like, how dare you ask me such a question? But I knew he was lying because I had seen it with my own eyes. So, yeah, I'm just saying, he will lie. You know what I'm saying? Him lying is second nature. You should have walked in and busted him. But no, I didn't want to. I didn't want to walk in and bust him because I honestly, sorry about that, I wanted to see if he was going to lie. I wanted to see if he was going to lie. I wanted to see if I asked him, would he lie about it? Or would he tell the truth? And he lied as straight face as you can. I mean, he lied as straight face as a person can. And if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'd have thought maybe he didn't use the lights. Oh, maybe he didn't. So that's all I'm saying is ask him about it and see what he say. But just because he say something don't mean it's true. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. I got some stuff I had to do. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I'm mad at Nate for making me mad. Angela said you should have walked in and snatched him down. No, what I did was I start taking the power cord to him with me. And then he got mad. Because I know y'all got to remember, because this happened live on air. He got mad because I had taken the power cord and he was like, don't nobody want to use your lights. And I was like, well, you couldn't because I took the power cord. And he was like, yeah, I know. I tried to use them and they wouldn't come on. And I was like, but I thought didn't nobody want to use my lights. So he told himself that happened live on air. So yeah, that's the way I fixed it. I just start taking the power cord with me. Oh, all right, y'all. I done said it. This the fifth time. I got to get out of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Now that Nate done made me mad. Got my pulse racing and all of that kind of stuff. It's sad, but a part of me does get a little bit excited. Like, yeah, let's get him. Let's get him. I don't want to get nobody. I really just want people to do what's right. All right. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. It was raining out here not too long ago. I heard thunder and all that kind of stuff. But it looked like the sun is out now. So get out. Enjoy the part of the day, hopefully that's nice and sunny before it start raining again. And as always, as you're enjoying this wonderful day, be the reason that somebody smiles. Till next time, I'm out, y'all. Peace.